Now, Sarah, I know we are getting close to our time, so I want to ask. I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
But one, as people are dealing with I'm sorry, with stress and anxiety, all the things, the
Yeah.
heaviness that they carry, what role does self-compassion play in helping them deal and heal, and how can they cultivate that?
Mm. Well, back to my swimming analogies since we're doing it. Remember how we were talking about if we're tense, we sink, right?
That's true.
I'm going to equate being tense to also like beating up on ourselves, right? Like holding ours just like, why can't you do that? That negative self-talk.
Right.
The opposite of self-compassion, okay,
Mm-hmm.
would be that beating up on yourself and being
Yeah.
so strict on yourself. I remember in high school, every swim practice, we had to start with what my coach called underwaters, which was you had to swim from 25 yards underwater and you had to do it 8 times at the beginning of every practice. And I love air. Okay. I love breathing. I hate underwater. And so I was like freaking
And this is
out.
continuous eight
No,
times.
thank you.
Oh,
Stop it.
okay.
Thank goodness. No, I can't. I
Okay.
can't. I can't do it. I can do them, but I would freak out about them every single time.
Right.
I would be like, and like when I'm underwater, literally losing my mind because I was in a certain lane in the middle, and
Right.
the senior in the lane was like, "We don't breathe on these. If you're going to be in this lane, you got to do it without
Mm-hmm.
breathing." Little freshman, like, okay, bye. And I'm freaking out, swimming underwater. And finally, after a few weeks of him witnessing that my freaking out, he was like, Sarah, if you just chill, it's going to be way easier. I'm like, what? He was like, don't do anything. Just push off the wall and glide, relax. You can get across this pool in 4 strokes, about like 4 big, what we call
Mm-hmm.
breaststroke underwater pool. He was like, you don't have to barely do anything. All this huff and puff you're doing under there is wasting your oxygen. You are wasting it. And so I kind of like to think about that as, we might be doing these healing, stress
Mm.
relief, that kind of stuff. But if it turns into, and I have to do this, and if I don't do this, and I'm
Yes.
like the approach, like again, let's evaluate our approach in doing it.
Yeah,
Is this
that's
approach
true.
actually helpful? Or are we
Yeah.
spending way more stress trying to do the stress relieving thing?
Mm.
Because my goal is
Point
not to create
taken.
more stress, right?
Yeah, point
In it.
taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of us, like for me, I tend to be hard on myself. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Enneagram 1. Like I'm a developer. Like I want to do all the things, which also means that I don't have much grace for myself sometimes. And so
Mm-hmm.
I like to take the advice that I give other people, which is to give ourselves grace in the
Yes, it's so
journey,
important.
give ourselves grace when we are trying these things, when we're trying these new approaches. Give ourselves grace and chill while you're doing it, glide, use the momentum, let the water hold you, if
Mm-hmm.
you will. And so what that looks like out of the pool,
Yeah.
it might be not as much negative self-talk. It might be, hey, you missed a day of your, whatever stress relief method you're on, your mindful lunch or whatever it is. Don't
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 beat
beat
yourself up.
yourself. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Love it.
Yeah. I don't think I'm alone in that a lot of times we're our own worst critics. So
No, we
if
are. And I say this often. It's like we spend so much time, we'll do for our others before we'll do for ourselves. And it's
yeah.
really so backwards to
Mhm.
me that we will make sacrifices, or we will are just kinder sometimes to other people.
Yeah.
We give other
Yeah.
people breaks and, like you said,
Oh yeah.
grace
Oh
that we
yeah.
don't give to ourselves. So I think
Mhm.
that is super, super important to do. I actually did a career day talk to my kids' class at school a couple weeks
Nice.
ago, and we created kindness cards. And I told them, write a line about being kind to others, but write one about being kind to ourselves, to yourselves, because I don't think that's practiced enough. I think that is where I think if we start creating, kindness for
Yes.
ourselves, it helps to knock out some of those negative thoughts
Oh
because
man.
we are
Yes.
intentionally being
Yes.
kind to ourselves. And the teachers, they really love that because it's like, okay, yeah, I can tell you to be nice to, you know, the kid,
Mhm.
your classmates, your peers, but be nice to yourself too. So
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
super important.
absolutely.